Hey guys, today I want to go over some of my tricks and kind of explain some of my clips. Right here I'm doing an AFK moment. It's always a good idea to be as unpredictable and off the wall as you can when you're trying to pull off some kind of spy trick. It's also important to use spots that not a lot of people use, like these rails here. And rails is just one prop. There's tons of props you can use, and the less they expect it and the more unconventional it is, the easier it's going to be to pull off. There's also something to be said about how quick you can do it, and right here is something you don't see that often. Jump stab back to back. Little things like that, being able to execute stabs that quickly will by itself just really surprise people. And the secret to really, getting off those jump stabs is using very low inclines. The stabs are much tighter when you use low inclines like that. They have much less time to react and you get the stab off sooner. Now you see I failed there. That's not necessarily because he's a better player than the heavy. It's just because I'm using a higher incline and it gives him more time to react to what I'm doing. Now this pyro's been hassling me all game. He knows what he's doing. He knows when to air blast me. He knows the right times to light me on fire. But what he doesn't know is that I can use the walls to my advantage, and a lot of spies don't do that. It's a great defensive tactic to control where you're moving in the air and use it to your advantage. And right there I used the wall, but I also walked on the edge's head to get behind the pyro. There's a misconception that you should only trick stab as a defensive maneuver, and right here I actually use them offensively to cap this point for my team. I would say people need to learn how to use them more offensively, because sometimes that's the only way you're going to get a pick on somebody. Now here I pretend like I'm going forward, but I actually move back very jerky like, and that's a good technique to use to create distance between you and your enemy or lose a pyro. Switch directions really quickly. Here I predict where they're going to look, and that's how I'm able to do all these stabs. I'm not waiting to look at their model, I'm predicting. And stabs such as these, matadors and corners, are some of the most useful and reliable out of all the tricks, and they work very well on higher skilled players. And just because a trick doesn't work right away doesn't mean you can't still make something out of it. Here I reverse the corner and I turn it into a matador.
Are you kidding me?
And if no picks present themselves to you, or you're not close enough to do anything effective, then just go ahead and take out your gun and start blasting. A few tips that I can give you about using the ambassador that I'm doing right now. Well, one, I want you guys to notice how I'm moving right now. I'm moving very unpredictably, I'm moving very jerky, and I'm using my strafe keys a lot. Strafe keys will help you line up headshots without moving your mouse, which is a much easier way to line shots up. It also makes them hard to get into close range, like I said before. Moving jerky in opposite directions will create distance between you and the enemy. Anyone who really wants to become good at spy will want to really get used to strafing a lot. I mean, it's not only going to help you in crazy situations like this where you're way up high in the air, but also on the ground and even small jumps. Here's a much lower jump where I utilized strafing, and it really messes with their head. One of my favorite stabs of all time is actually a strafe stab that I did on my stream not too long ago. This pyro's really good. He was hassling me all game, and I did a fake out jump stab, and as he turned around I actually strafed back around and managed to get an overhead stab. It was a really exciting moment. Part of the fun of spy is just being creative. Using people's heads or doing unorthodox techniques to make things interesting. Here I stop a bonk scout by jumping on his head. You know, one thing about scouts is they move very quickly and very erratically, so you kind of have to pick up the pace when you're dealing with them. Right here is very interesting how I deal with this, because when I jump you can see that I'm not looking in the right direction to actually execute a stair stab on him, which means I have to turn a complete 360. And that's about all I have for now. And for some of the reasons listed in the video, some of the stabs I showed you, those are the reasons that I keep spying, and I encourage everybody to not give up and keep practicing. See you guys in the game, and see you guys on my stream.